Hey everybody, and welcome back to my latest video. It's going to be at my school, but you can't see because of the reflection in the back. We got a big snowstorm going on right now, so I'm kind of locked down in the house, so film my video here. So episode 16, we are starting now with explaining how you design a gamified classroom to fit actually what it is you want to do. A lot of people look at my classroom and they kind of say, and wonder, well, why does it look this way? Why did you choose this theme? Why is this here? Why is there no furniture? And I get kind of this litany of questions. So there's actually a rhyme and reason behind every single thing that I do in my room. And that all comes back, if we go way back in time to episode 7, which I released like a year ago or whatever. It was about human motivation. And this human motivation follows Yukai Chou's Octalysis model. And when you follow that, you actually can really change the way that gamification is perceived. A lot of people have struggled with gamification because they are way too, I'll just use the term fluffy, because they just kind of toss, game cards and quests or missions, and they change their language a bit, and then it's stagnant and it doesn't change at all over the course of the duration of the year. And because of that, the gamification process will die on you. So you have to be very, very selective about how and when you release things, how you design things. And the number one thing the kids are obviously going to see is your classroom. So using the Octalysis model, I want to break down the actual process behind how I designed my classroom. So let's get right to it. Episode 16, how does my classroom work? So let's go through the 8 models, or the 8 ways of human motivation, as designed again by the Octalysis book, which you have to check out. It's incredible for gamification. It goes way deeper, probably than you would need for school, but you can pick so many cool elements. All right, here we go. So the first one is epic meaning and calling. So quick refresher, epic meaning and calling essentially is the ability to take your class, take your students into the mindset of doing something they'd never be able to accomplish in real life. So, be that hero. It's the same motivation we get behind books and movies. You become captivated into something that you'd never be able to do in kind of real life, or really unlikely, let's say. So how do you fit that into the classroom? Really, really simple. When I first got in my classroom, the walls were chipped and damaged. It was an older building. It was a cool black, disgusting color. So immediately I painted it white, hung some clouds and dragons and things from the ceiling. The reason I did this is because if we're in a medieval land, I want to immediately get that feel of being outdoors, as much as I can indoors. The second thing I did was we went ahead and we dropped blackout blinds so that I didn't have to cover my windows, because if I wanted to have night, which I'll get to in a second, I didn't want to have to go and worry about natural daylight during the day, so I blacked out the windows. Third thing I did was I converted my desk into a castle by using some foam core board and just, some cool techniques that I learned. And all of that immediately starts to get the feel of being in this medieval land that you're supposed to be in. I took out my furniture. The reason I took out the furniture was simple. 2 reasons. We don't need it to learn. I'm really tired of people forcing and telling kids that they need X, Y, and Z to learn, when the only really thing you need is the attitude of wanting to learn. So the environment is a total whatever it is you want to make of it. But you don't need the pencils and the paper and the computers and the Chromebooks and the iPads and all these things. What you need is the ability to want to be there. So to captivate that, I took all the furniture out. Plus it's the flexible seating extreme. The second reason behind it, of course, was I said, if you're a medieval mercenary that I hire and I bring into my classroom, you're not going to bring furniture. So I took it out. And in taking it out, the kids have the ability to craft and to build their own furniture. And in doing that, the room takes that space and that life of its own. I added my shops and my different things to create the feel and the look of the medieval land that I said we were in, of course, known as Scientia Terra. So when it comes to that epic meaning and calling, design your classroom to fit the theme to the best of your ability. Don't go spending thousands of dollars and demanding things of people and this and that. Just take the time to look. If you can paint the walls, paint the walls. If you can take out the furniture, take it out. If you need to add more furniture, if you need more lights and LED strips and flashy things because it's futuristic or space, whatever the case may be, use what you have in order to make it successful to fit that theme. So again, simple things like paint, thinking of the layout of the land and the theme of the style and the narrative of the game, thinking of the look, thinking of the, for me, I wanted rustic stuff, older things, broken stuff. So again, when it comes to that first one, it's probably the easiest to apply to your classroom. Just make the classroom feel to the best of your ability in the era of time that you say you're in, whether it's past, present, or future, whether it's old or new, whether it's no technology or a ton of technology. Just fit everything to fit that mold, and you're going to hit that first human motivation thing right away. All right. So the second one is development and accomplishment. This is probably, again, a pretty simple one to incorporate in your classroom if you really think about it. The whole principle behind development and accomplishment is the ability of getting recognized and leveling up and progressing. So your RPG style games are literally riddled with examples of this. So in your classroom, what you could design, or a lot of people do, is a leveling system. So based on XP or gold or whatever it is, the currency or the way you track grades and things like that in your classroom, you can go ahead and you can have it so that once kids hit certain levels, they can access different points of your classroom, or rewarded with different areas that you can't access until you hit a certain level. So I have a digital leaderboard on my website that the kids can check out. And when they check out, you're going to see right beside their player name is a rank. Where they rank in the classroom is not their level, because that's immediately what kids are going to look at. You have to have a category for level. So they're going to look at level. And when they look at level, mine is a combination of gold earned as well as XP. Because if it's just XP, then you're going to only be catering to your kids who are high achievers. So you want to have gold in there because kids can find gold. You can add a little bit of elements of luck, some chance, which I'll address later. So when you come to it, you want to focus on that level. So I have various points in my classroom that kids can only access when they hit certain levels. And it's pretty neat to see how they check this leaderboard a lot to see, oh, can I pull this cloth off of this thing? Can I spin this wheel at this level? Can I go to this dragon lair, and all these different kinds of places? So really simple. Think of it as a lock and a key. The level is the key that they possess, and the lock is the area in the room. And the only way that they can access and unlock the lock is by achieving a certain level in the classroom, which then, again, acts as the key. So this is really easy to visualize in the classroom. Think covering things in cloth, think hiding things, think literally posting. You have to be this level to get here, or to do this, or to do that. And again, very simple for kids to follow, to track, and very motivating for kids because it gives you that goal setting, which again, something you can talk about in your classroom as well. So that is a pretty simple way to add development and accomplishment. All right, moving on to our third core driver, number 3, which is our creativity and feedback. Now, as humans, we love the ability to create things and do stuff, and we also equally love the ability to hear people's feedback. Even if it's not feedback that we like, we will then take it and modify and fix things. On the flip side, if it is feedback that we like, we find it incredibly motivating to continue then to build new things, showcase stuff, show stuff off, and all that stuff. Said stuff a lot. So in this one, what I did was I created a crafting system. And I used the crafting system in 2 ways. The first thing was that I had the ability mentioned earlier of kids being able to build their own furniture. The kids being able to build their own furniture was a tremendous game changer for me, because what it allowed the kids to do is it allowed the kids to go ahead and be completely creative in what they actually found usable for their space. So some kids never build furniture, never build chairs, desks, anything. Certain groups always have this vision of building beds and couches and all these crazy things, and I totally let them try to do it. I have a the card and translates into the physical resource, and then they get to build whatever it is they want for their space. The second thing that they're allowed to do is through the use of the crafting store and the crafting cards that I've created, is they're able to take these cards and they're able to create higher ranking, rarer items in the game with lower level common items. And this was to help level the playing field. You're always going to have these kids who take off and they're going to be super high achieving and they're going to crush everything you do and they're going to get a distinct advantage. So you want to give kids the ability to think their way to the top sometimes. If it's not in an academic setting, I mean. So
certain kids have realized that on my website I have a crafting store. And that crafting store allows you to take all of the crafting cards that I have and combine them in specific ways in which to take lower level cards to create higher ranking cards. And this is a lot of fun for kids because they'll hoard things that are really, really cheap. And then they'll be like, oh, okay, if I had this and this, I think that would make that. And then they'll go try it in the crafting store and they'll see. I've even had kids who've gone through and actually created the entire list and have discovered every crafting recipe that I have available through this simply by trial and error and looking and doing hypotheticals. And again, this is all based on creativity because they get the immediate feedback from the system saying this is what you get for your creative efforts and inputs. And then when it comes to furniture, you get your creative input back, or sorry, your feedback on your creativity when your furniture works or doesn't work. Every year I have furniture that fails. Not enough support, not thick enough, not durable enough, not enough nails. And again, you're going to get some pretty immediate feedback when you slam through the ground and break your table or your desk or your bench, which I'm telling you wholeheartedly has happened twice so far in 2 years, which is a riot for me because it's a great learning experience. So when it comes to creativity and feedback, physically in the classroom, again, that's where I'm addressing it, give the kids the ability to customize the classroom. If they want to build furniture, let them build furniture if that fits your theme. If they want to create things with different cards, figure out a way in which to do it and showcase it. So again, I have my crafting store. Even let them get involved. I hire kids as engineers and artists in my program to paint certain elements of my classroom, specifically for my battle board and my minis and terrain. They design stuff, they build things, they create things for the classroom space. And again, those kids are going to get the feedback from their peers, and you're going to get a group of kids that are so much more wholly, I should say, not wholly, invested into the program because they are immediately contributing to its growth. So that is creativity and feedback in your space.
All right, moving on to number 4. Ding. Ownership and possession. So this is the core driver of this, since he says whatever we have, we want to hold on to and protect, and we don't want to get rid of it. So how do you incorporate that into the classroom? Again, you're thinking shops. Make sure that you got shops in your classroom or a visual area where kids can see things that they can own. This is your game cards. From that game card perspective, they're going to go ahead and they're going to look and they're going to want to see the things that they want to buy and purchase, and they're going to want to hold on to them. The shocking thing about game cards you're going to realize is probably 90% of your kids are never going to use them anywhere to the level you would expect. They'll use them periodically, maybe one here, one there, but truthfully, what you're going to see is they're going to want to hold on to them. So I always try to visualize as many areas in my classroom. So I have my spinning wheel, where you can go ahead and you can see, what you can win with the envelopes in the back. And then when it comes to the battle board, I have tokens and pickups all over the board. And what you will see is kids will want to grab these things and they'll want to cash them in by getting into little drop points with their avatar on the board. And in that whole process, you're going to see how much they value things, and that's kind of the cool part. This is why I don't like a digital gamification. I do as little digital as possible. Pretty much my game this year is virtually no digital at all, because the physical possession of items is super powerful to the human mind. When you have something, so I love this hat. I wear it in all my videos now, a new hat for a new school. When I lose this thing, because inevitably I put it down somewhere, it drives me crazy. So the same thing, make sure you have areas in your classroom where the cards are on display, things are on display, things can be picked up, handled, touched. The tactile feeling is so important. So again, think shops, think areas in your battle board, think hidden puzzles and prizes in your classroom, because it's that tangibility that will really draw kids into this core driver. Next. All right, number 5. Bing. This would be social influence and relatedness. This one is very easy to understand. It says a little refresher. It's how we compare ourselves to other people. Whether we like it or not, we're always going to be comparing ourselves in some way, shape, or form to other people. So let's talk about the classroom. How do you implement that in the classroom? Number 1 is guilds. That's why I have my patches of grass. That's why I have them set up all across the classroom. You want them to have an identity with a group of people, and you want that identity to be driven home, which is why I don't have desks and furniture. That's, I guess, a little side note too, come to think of it, because I don't want them blended in with other people, because it'll take that sense of identity away for their team. That's why I also have the flag that they hang. I have little strings hanging from my ceiling with paper clips, and they just clip their little flag they make at the beginning of the year. Again, it's a bit ownership and possession. This is the land and the territory that I own. but it's a little bit more in that social influence and relatedness, because what happens is the kids turn around and what they do is they're like, this is our space, this is what we have, and we're going to watch how you see them. Well, why is their grass bigger? Why is ours smaller? Why is ours here? Why is theirs there? You got all these kind of cool questions. Of course, when you got comparison, we're talking the leaderboard. When you look at the leaderboard, you can actually add different tabs to the leaderboard. So the leaderboard that I use, which is Michael Materis, just because he's pretty good at coding. So I look at it, I just used his. And at the bottom, he has 2 tabs. It's just really cool. You can compare the individual classes, so like 8H, my homeroom, versus 8W and 8D, the other 2 total of 3 grade 8 homerooms that are participating in my game. And you also can compare and see where you rank with all 15 guilds. So where does your team rank? And then again, as I alluded to earlier, you actually have an individual ranking as well on the leaderboard, which shows where you rank 1 out of the 92, 93 kids that I have. So again, you see a lot of these kind of cool different features in this, and it's super easy to blend into the classroom. The other thing that I do is I have the player and guild of the week. So in the back of my classroom on that huge bulletin board I'm blessed with, I have 2 sections for guild and player of the week. So when it comes to player of the week, I select a student every week who's just working their tail off. I want to be clear, I don't pick the hardest or highest achieving. I pick, hardest working, works best with people, working to the best of their ability, etc., etc. I actually post their name so that their peers see and are like, whoa, Cypher, Bloodthirst 12, whatever player's up there, and against their avatar name that's posted, is working super hard. And then I do guild of the week, which just follows the exact same thing, how well they're working together, collaborating, all that. And I slap that right on the board so the kids can see. One thing I stress if you use this is don't feel the need to put everybody's name up. If the hardest working kid or team is the hardest working kid or team 5 weeks in a row, put them up 5 weeks in a row. It honors their work, and it I'm not very good at this webcam, and B, what it does is it turns around and it says, you have to earn this. So these kids have earned it. I'm not giving it away to everybody for free. So again, social influence relatedness, think those visuals. Think a place where you can see where you rank, whether it's in the classroom or in a device or on a device that you can have in the classroom or even on display. I used to have an old TV that I used to put the leaderboard on, but I don't do that this year. Just maybe I could, but I didn't want to this year. Think your rank. Think the setup of the room, the teams that you're with, and all of those different kinds of things. That will really help kids connect with the social influence relatedness core driver. Moving on. All right, moving on to number 6. Bing. This would be scarcity and impatience. Now, scarcity and impatience, essentially, we do things on impulse. We see things, there's not a lot of it, we want to buy it so other people don't have it. We want things to happen quick and now. There might be a limited supply, all those good things. In your classroom, think about areas where you can put things up that are timed. So, sometimes I will have sales in my shops. So I put a little card up, it says sale for the next 72 hours. All weapons are 25% off. Now, to make this math cross-curricular, because I do science, what I do is I will not tell them what 25% off of the price is. They have to do it. So if they want a sword for 400, they have to tell me what 25% off of 400 is, which of course is 100 because 400, quarter of it, 100. But again, you'll see sometimes kids struggle with this. So the kids get this math lesson in right away, which is a lot of fun to do. And you got to stick to your guns. If you say there's a sale and you visualize 4 cards, that's it. When you're sold out, you're sold out. Don't make more, because you have to drive home scarcity and impatience in that way. The next thing that I sometimes do occasionally is I'll have auctions. So think eBay and Kickstarter. You will invest and invest and invest and click and bid. And then all of a sudden you get outbid. You bid more, and you have to bid a little bit more for the Kickstarter to get fully backed, or whatever the case may be. So in that, what you have to do is you have to turn and you have to say, all right, I'm going to hold an auction, because they're just a ton of fun. So I bring the kids in one day at lunch. I say you have to have on a piece of paper your name and the amount of gold that you have. that way I can double check it, and then I have this rare card, and I hold it up, and then we just start going. I'm like, 100 gold, 100 gold, and I just start going through, and you will see kids, again, think, do I bid now? When do I bid? Do I bid multiple times? One time at the end? And again, that's just a ton of fun to have, and kids love it. I have a trader's tent. So the trader's tent shows up, 3-4 times in the year, and what the trader wants something. So the trader will post, I want, the following items, and I'll put little card holders on the tent. When the card holders are on the tent, the message will say, I'll be here for the next 72 hours. Whoever brings me these items, I will trade. I close up the tent door, which normally is open, and inside, prior to closing it, I'll have hid a treasure box, which is just a shoebox I covered in paper and made it look like a treasure box really crudely, and I taped it shut. Inside is a whole bunch of cards and knickknacks and things to help them. When they make the trade, they get the items, and it's first come, first serve. Sometimes you can even be evil, and let's say kids start to fill the slots. Oh, I'll put the lumber, I'll put the nail. Whoever puts the last card in completes the trade, and that is really cool, because when you mention that once, the kid who pays attention to that will wait. They'll have like the lumber he needs. Everyone else will fill it with the cheap or more expensive cards, and then they'll dive in, swipe it in, and go, boom, that's my trade. And again, that's a ton of fun. You can incorporate this in the battle board a ton. I have every unit, I have a merchant show up who is selling seasonal related items. So I just had my one for the Halloween fall, where they were selling pumpkins as a food. If any of my kids watch this video, if they bought a pumpkin and they combine it with a dagger, they can carve it out and they can make a jack-o'-lantern helmet, which superpowers. So we'll see if a kid figures that out. And the items that they sell are specifically related to the season that they're in. So I'm going to do a Christmas one in mid-December. I'm going to be selling Christmas hats and Christmas candy as prizes. A Santa hat as armor and things like that. You can introduce different spells, foods, weaponry, armor. And again, those are a lot of fun. And again, you limit the supply and you limit how long they're there. So again, think about implementable things that kids can see in the classroom, where there are clearly laid out visual dates, times, and items, supplies, and requirements. And kids go absolutely crazy for this stuff. It is a ton of fun. All right, home stretch, number 7. Boom. This will be your curiosity and unpredictability. This is a super easy one. I've kind of posted in other videos and blogs and things, and I think on Twitter too. One of my favorite things to do is make card packages. Literally take your cards, put them in tinfoil, wrap up the tinfoil, put a sticker on it that you make with a label, a custom sticker label of, and you can put your little, if you have a game logo, or if you have a little name or whatever. I always just call mine like game pack. It's just a little symbol I found online of like a Celtic cross. Anyway, stick that on. I got my card packs and I'll sell them. I'll even make them at random, shuffle them up, and then I won't even know what's inside of them. So it's almost a little bit of fun of the unpredictability for myself as well. And when they're posted in the stores, I'll say they're all worth 2,000, but they might not be worth 2,000. So again, the unpredictability. Do I do it? The curiosity. Should I do it? And again, kids have a lot of fun with that. The trader's tent, which I just mentioned as another example, is the trade going to be worth the content? It always is. But the kids aren't 100% sure. Sometimes if you want to be nasty, you can chuck poison in the box, so they trade and they get poison and they have to solve a problem to get the antidote and that kind of stuff, which is fun. And again, I also have the Wheel of Chance. And certain times they can either buy, limited time throughout the year, they can buy the ability to spin the wheel, or they can earn it, through incredible work, powerful presentations, whatever the case may be. You spin the wheel and you go ahead and you pick the envelope or the little satchel bag from the wall, and then you get that prize, whatever's inside. Again, you can put really rare items, really common items, maybe one item in the entire game, like a special pair of boots or whatever, can be in that bag, and the kids don't know that that's the only place that you can find it. Again, I described earlier that all my numbers are on Velcro tabs, so when they get a number on the wheel, I pull the Velcro off, and then if they land the little selector arrow thing on the wheel on a spot where the Velcro tab has been removed, they get nothing. So again, the harder, it's easier in the beginning and harder as you go throughout the year. And again, kids adore this stuff. Hide stuff in the classroom. I have the puzzle clues and stuff, which is another thing that you can do. which would also double up into the scarcity and impatience as well, because there's only one thing hidden, there's a limited amount of clues, and whoever finds it first. So again, think about these physical things where kids see something, but they don't exactly know what it is, how they're going to get it, where it is, that kind of stuff. Think your card packages, think again, traders, think events where you're going to get something for doing something, but you don't exactly know what the prize is going to be. One thing I did this year too, quick caveat, is I got a heart model. Well, I shouldn't say it's a model, it's a fake heart for Halloween. But I sawed it in half and I drilled holes and I put locks on it and I called it the Heart of Terra. And it's strung up and hanging from the ceiling in my classroom. And kids look at this and how do we get in that? So they're trying to figure out what's inside, why is it there, what is the purpose of it. And again, I haven't even told anybody what it is. I just tell them that there's a key they have to find. And when you get the key, you can open the heart and you can get whatever's inside the heart. And I won't spoil it on the video, but it's a pretty cool thing. So again, kids look at it, they ask tons of questions. So again, little tip, make them attractive, flashy, visual things in your classroom that will draw kids' attention so they want to know what the heck it is. And then when they figure it out, again, they're super connected because there's been this waiting period. We're so used in society to instant gratification, so the ability to wait and delayed gratification. What is it? Oh, I wait. Okay, I've got enough money. I bought the card package. Oh my God, it was worth it. It's full of cool stuff. So again, super easy to implement. One more. All right, we're up to the final one. And good, I'm getting tired. All right, last one. Loss and avoidance. Now, loss and avoidance, again, civil. Think of death. You don't want to die. You don't want people you know to die. You don't want to lose things permanently. So you can harness that really, really simply by giving your kids health tracking sheets. So when they get health tracking sheets, they can die in the game. So they can take damage from poor marks, poor tests, getting fought in a battle, whatever the case may be, whatever system you implement. But yeah, your kids have to be able to die in your game or perish or whatever term you want to use depending on the age and the sensitivity of the kids in the school and stuff. I mean, I talk about death and dying all the time. I teach 13-year-olds, so it's what they like to hear. They're captivated by it, and I'm fine with that. So in the back of the class, I have a kill counter. I was in a store and I found this steampunk munchkin. I don't even know what it is, but it says it says kill-o-meter. So anytime a kid dies, I up the meter by 1. So it's cool because kids are always dying to see who's funny. Are always trying to figure out who is the first person to die. When does it go from 0 to 1? And then when we mark a test where kids can die, poor tests equal lots of damage, and your character could die, they will come and they will look. Oh, the test killed 3 kids. Oh, yes. I hope it wasn't from my team or blah blah blah. And kids really get a huge kick out of that. Your avatar on the battle board, the little figure that represents you can die. If you have a certain amount of players that die, the character dies, and if the character dies, they go back to the beginning of the battle board. And let's say they progressed, over the course of weeks all the way across the board, which takes time because your character only moves an inch based on the roll of dice. And they die. Well, they drop all their items, and they have to go all the way to the beginning. So again, death is a really thing to incorporate a lot. And just as a total side note, when you do a tactile, hands-on game, not digital, which again, stay away from digital and gamification if you can in education, because it's so much more meaningful to kids to have things in their hands versus just another app or digital thing on their phone. They have to give you their cards when they die, and you get to erase their gold from the leaderboard. And that, I'll be rude, I'll call it the walk of shame. To hand over the cards means so much more to the students than erasing something in an app. So this is something they've had and they've now lost it, hence loss and avoidance. So kids are pretty motivated by this. So give them a trackable, tangible way to show people who have perished in the game. You don't have to identify who, but numbers are very, very motivating for kids. So that's a long video, one of my longest. That is how you incorporate the 8 different core drivers from Yukai Chou's Octalysis model and add them into your classroom in the design. So as you can see, every single thing in my classroom has a purpose, has a rhyme and a reason to it to motivate kids in one or multiple different ways. And if you do this correctly over time, and again, correctly, I use that term loosely, trial and error it, ask kids, that's the best way to design gamification. you will find that you will motivate all kinds of kids in different ways. Certain kids are going to love the card packs and curiosity and unpredictability. Certain kids are going to love the leaderboard and social influence relatedness. Certain kids are going to love tracking the kilometer and loss and avoidance. Whatever the case is, make sure that your classroom fits those core drivers, and you will have a very successfully designed and implemented gamification. Next video, I talk end games. Yes. Stay tuned.